I recently had a friend who had a faith-based podcast say to me, "Hey Phil, how do I get a podcast from 0 to 1,000 podcast subscribers by a certain date?" I have built 2 pages from 0 to 30,000 subscribers with less than 30 videos. One is called The Normal Christian Life, and the other is my personal channel, Phil of the Day, which has over 30,000 subscribers now. In this video, I'm going to give you the complete blueprint for how to go from 0 to 1,000 podcast subscribers as fast as humanly possible. I have been putting content on my own personal page, slowly but surely, and slowly getting subscribers until all of a sudden, one video that I did took off and took me from 1,000 to 20,000 subscribers. The following video I did also took off, and that gained me another 10,000 subscribers, which brings my total subscriber count now up to 32,000 subscribers, which means you're really only one video away from your whole world changing. But it's hard to know which video it's going to be that's going to take off all of a sudden. Now, in order to reach your desired goal by your own deadline that you set, you have to reverse engineer the goal based on your deadline, assume a few metrics so that you can figure out what it is you need to do to get the results you are after. Knowing that as you implement that process, one video could just take off and change everything. Now let's change lanes from content to the world of fitness. Let's just say you want to have a 6-pack abs in 3 months. So now you're going to have to reverse engineer what you're going to have to do so that you hit that goal in 3 months' time. You would have to start with how much you weigh, and then you have to figure out how much weight you need to lose, which means you need to figure out the calorie deficit you need to get each day so that by the end of your 6-month period, you have the pristine, immaculate 6-pack abs you've always dreamed of. It's the same with content, except with YouTube, you can take this magic pill called virality, which gets you that 6-pack abs instantly, which I will talk about more later on in this video. If you just put content out here and there, everywhere, there's no big strategy to it, it's kind of like going to the gym. If you just go to the gym here, there, every other day, maybe after 6 months, you might have had, like by chance, been eating right. Maybe you've done enough workouts and you just happen to transform by the end of that. There's a possibility that if you just put content out there with no sort of here, then, everywhere, you might achieve the result you're after just because you're doing things. But it won't happen very easily. If you actually reverse engineer your goal, you figure out how many calories you need to lose over time, and you figure out what you need to eat each day and how much you need to work out, the results are going to become way more clear, and the roadmap's going to be way more realistic, and your expectations are going to be adjusted accordingly. It's the same with content. If you can begin to reverse engineer, okay, this is how many views I need to get, this is how many videos I need to put out, and this is how long it might take me to hit my subscriber goal. If you have just a little bit of forethought, a little bit of insight into those metrics, you can then actually track your results and have realistic expectations of how easy or how hard it is to achieve your dream desired outcome. You can't necessarily force the results to happen. You can't force people to subscribe. It's better to get your satisfaction from the process and not from the results. Become content with the process and the results will take care of themselves. Okay, so you want to get 1,000 subscribers in 30, 60, or 90 days. Let's assume a few metrics. Let's say you get 1 subscriber for every 100 long form views that you get. And let's just say that you get 1 subscriber from every 1,000 short form views that you get. Now we need to reverse engineer how many views we need to get in order to reach 1,000 subscribers. If you relied on long form views alone, then you would need 100,000 views to get 1,000 subscribers. And if you relied on short form alone, you would need 1 million shorts views to get 1,000 subscribers. The next question you need to ask yourself is, how many podcast episodes can I make? If you could only do 1 podcast a week, so you have 1 long form video a week, and you got 4 high quality shorts from that long form podcast, and your goal was to hit 1,000 subscribers in 1 month. Now you can basically work out what combination of views you need to get from each podcast, both long form and short form, to get the desired result that you want. By the end of 30 days, you have created 4 long form podcasts and you have 16 short form clips from your podcast. In order to get 1,000 subscribers by the end of those 30 days, each long form podcast needs to get at least 25,000 views. Each short form needs to get 62,500 views. You either need to get 25,000 views on each long form or 62,500 views on each short form, or a combination of the two of them to reach your 1,000 subscriber goal. If you focus on quality rather than quantity and you release less content but higher quality, you put more pressure on each piece of content to perform to get the desired result that you want. But on the other side, if you focus on quantity rather than quality, there's less pressure on each piece of content to perform because there's a lot more content to accumulate the amount of views that you're after. But with YouTube, things work a little bit differently. If you, say, put an extra 10% of effort into your content, the return could be 300%, not just an extra 10% views. So there is value in focusing on quality over quantity, but you don't want to take that to the extreme where you have paralysis by analysis and end up putting out no content at all. So that's how many views you would need to get on a 30-day time horizon. But if you extend your time horizon from 30 to 60 or 90, then the amount of views you need to get on each piece of content decreases and your likelihood of achieving your desired result increases. If you increased your time horizon and we went from instead 30 days to 90 days, that means now instead of 4 long form videos, you have 12 long form videos, and instead of 16 shorts, you have 42 shorts. Now, each piece of long form content only needs 8,300 views to get to 1,000 subscribers, and each short form piece of content only needs 21,000 views. So you can see the more time you give yourself, the more likely you are to achieve your desired result. If you are a complete beginner, then it's likely that your quality of content isn't going to be as good as it is once you've had way more experience. That means you need to rely more on quantity to get the desired results that you want. Now let's talk about how to get views, how to actually increase the quality of the content so that we can reach our goals even faster. In order to get views more easily, we need to know who we are talking to. We have to have a target audience in mind. What is the value proposition of your podcast? What is the problem you are solving? If we take the Diary of the CEO, for example, he is going to interview CEOs, big name people in this world, so that we can learn from their thought process, from their way they think. The value proposition is we're going to be learning from the most successful people in different areas. You really want to target someone specifically, and the YouTube algorithm will find that viewer for you. That's what it's there for. So we are looking at the back end of my friend's channel, but if we look at this thumbnail here, he's quite far away. It's hard to see him. And there's heaps of words there. Top motivational speaker, the truth about rising to the top. So that's a lot of words. And if we read the title, Top Motivational Speaker tells it like never before and reveals the shocking source of his success. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 words. And the problem is if you actually were to click on this video or see this video, if it's longer than say 55 characters, you won't even see the full title. It'll just say top motivational speaker tells it like never, and you're like, I don't know what it's about. So which one would you click on? This one? Same podcast, but now the thumbnail, you can see him clearly. It says, they fired me with a Bible verse. And the podcast is Faith Off the Record. So Bible verse signals to the audience that this is a Christian podcast, it's a Christian audience. And the title is now From Jail to World Stage, Mr. Beasley's Rise as a Motivational Speaker. Much more concise, and it tells you exactly what you're going to get. You're going to be learning lessons from a world stage motivational speaker. And you're going to learn from his transformation. Still 66 characters, so ideally he wants to be 55, but this is better. So out of this video or out of this video, just based on the thumbnail, which video are you more likely to click? And then based on the title, if you only could read that much of it, if that's all you had to know, yeah, you just tell me, which one are you more likely to click on? The next key thing you need to work on when it comes to your podcast is the hook. Here's how the video started before.
Welcome to Faith Off the Record. I'm your host, Joel Atwell. We sit down with incredible, inspiring people from all walks of life who share about their faith in Christ. I would appreciate if you hit that like and subscribe button. For now, here's my next guest, Mr. BZ.
It's okay because he is trying to give you the value proposition, but you really need a strong hook to grab someone's attention that delivers on the promise of the thumbnail and title. So I re-edited the hook, and here is what it is now.
My manager at the time, my boss, right? He tried to bring scripture to the meeting of him firing me. I said, this guy actually thinks he provides for me. I said, you aren't my provider, God is.
So we've heard about your rise and your start. So tell me how challenges were faced.
Just to say, I was thrust into the devil's playground. I remember being in that cell.
You can see that this teases the best parts of the video. We're showing the highest emotions. We're showing the highest conflict, the highest controversy. This intro is much more engaging, and it tells me, wow, this is actually going to be a really good video. So having that strong hook in the beginning is key when it comes to podcasts. One key to get a better thumbnail and title for your podcast is actually to come up with it before the podcast even starts. The more intentional you can be about the thumbnail and title before you start, you're saving yourself a world of trouble. And if the podcast happens and you happen to talk about something that's even better than what you thought of beforehand, well, now you've just increased your chances for success. Now, if you've filmed the podcast already and you're coming up with the thumbnail and title in hindsight, or you're trying to come up with a better thumbnail and title now that you've actually sat down and had the interview, what's the more intriguing moment of the entire podcast? That needs to be in your thumbnail and title, but it also needs to be part of the hook. That way, if you promise conflict, you get conflict. If you promise controversy, you get controversy. If you promise value, they get value. If you promise transformation, they get transformation the moment they click. Because no click, no views. Conflict, contrast, curiosity, clarity, hidden knowledge, secrets, keys, list formats, transformation, avoiding pain, exposés. All of these are the kinds of things you want to package your podcast in order to get views. It doesn't have to be entirely negative. Transformation, value, those things are positive ways to package your content, but there needs to be a level of intrigue or curiosity, or people need to be having a discussion about your video in their mind. It either needs to make them say, what in the world does that even mean? Or that can't be real, that sounds crazy. Or, oh, I really want to learn that. If they're having a conversation with themselves in their head with your thumbnail and title, then you've done a great job at packaging it. Now, the next key for getting lots of views and or subscribers is actually going to be to focus on shorts. It's no secret that a lot of people's attention is on shorts. And that's how a lot of podcasts usually get their first bit of exposure, is through shorts. Not the only way, but it is a powerful way to get views fast and get subscribers and awareness out there fast. Why? They're easier to produce, you can put more quantity out there, and therefore easier to get subscribers. Now, those subscribers may not be very loyal subscribers because time spent with the creator matters, but if your only goal is exposure, awareness, and that first 1,000 subscribers, podcasts, clips might be the best strategy to get there sooner rather than later. Here's how to get better shorts. You need to have a strong hook, and it needs to have a strong structure, and having actual text on screen is also key. Okay, let's look at the importance of a hook, the importance of structure, the importance of editing when it comes to shorts, and how much of a difference it can have on the viewer. So here's one of the first shorts my friend's channel put out, and let's just see what's potentially wrong with it.
Even in that 3 to 4 year period, there was a period where I got arrested twice within 3 months.
So we're 6 seconds in. It probably would have been better to start off with, I got arrested twice within 3 months. Boom. Now you're presenting the story as a matter of fact. Much better hook than, even in that 3 to 4 year period, there was a period where, cut that out. Now, let's look at a short that I edited, and you can see when you structure it and you put a bit more effort into it, how much more engaging and how more likely this has of being success. I've added a title, it's like a visual hook, and then here's the verbal hook.
I said, if I don't reply by a certain time, I'm dead. So I went to Albania, I'm just talking to people about Jesus, and I talked to this guy. He's just getting angry, and I'm like, why is this guy getting angry?
You can see the edit is much more engaging. The hook was very strong. We jump into the story. There's rising conflict. The text is much more engaging. You can see that extra 10% of effort could have an exponential return on views. And if we look at the views of this short, so bear in mind this is an early channel. So this had 1,000 views, whereas the first one had 11 views. So we can see a 1,000% increase of views from just switching up the content. And so finding those awesome moments in your podcast, the best moments, structuring them correctly, this is going to give your shorts the best chance of viral success and therefore get you to your subscriber goal as fast as possible. How do you get better hooks on your shorts, long form views and titles? What makes a good start? A good question is a hook in and of itself. If you can reframe and refilm your question in the start after the fact, just the right question can be a great hook. Now, either the interviewer or the guest can summarize the story as a matter of fact. Kind of like how I did in that video. I forgave the men that killed my best friend. The guest could say that, maybe he said that, you use that, perfect, great, that's a great hook. Or if the interviewer says, can you tell me about how you forgave the people that killed your best friend? Bam, you just summarized the story as a matter of fact in one sentence. That's a great hook. The interviewer can hint at a good story, or the guest can hint at a good story. So you can say, there was one thing with your best friend that changed everything. Can you tell me about it? So you're hinting at a powerful story, but you're not giving away any key details of fact. That can be intriguing if done right. Or the guest can say, a bunch of people came up to me with knives. What they did next completely changed my life forever. So it's like, I didn't really tell you what the story is going to be about, but I'm hinting at conflict. I'm hinting at transformation. That could be a hook as well. So something to think about. Another great hook is the interviewer or the guest can promise the emotion they will get if you watch this video. So you can say, like, the guest could be like, you're going to be mad if I tell you the story, or you're going to laugh so hard once I finish the story, or what this person did to me made me laugh so hard. Like, you're promising the feeling people are going to get. Or the interviewer could say, what your father did to you when you were a child just makes me so angry. And then the guest proceeds to tell their story, but you're promising that you're going to be outraged if you watch this video. You can start with the most interesting fact about the story. So this is how you start with the most interesting fact. All of a sudden, I was $100,000 richer, but I didn't wake up knowing that was going to happen. So I'm telling you the most interesting story, and now I'm going to backtrack and get to the beginning of it. And this is true for both short form and long form content. But if you start off the short or the podcast with, hi, my name's Philip, and I want to introduce you to my guest. His name is John, and John is a really cool guy. I met him 5 years ago when boring, no fluff, no logos, just get into the meat of the content. Introduce yourself in the middle of the content or at the end. Well, it's been great talking to you, John. How can I get to know you more? Like, in this vast world where there's so much content, there's so many options for people, there's no room for formalities. We need to get to the heart and the meat of the content as fast as possible. Now that we know how to get better hooks for our videos, what can we do before we even film the podcast so that we have a higher success rate of great reels after the fact? Well, you can introduce something like a rapid fire segment. If you dedicate a little bit of forethought before you film your podcast so that at the end you give the interviewer 30 seconds to answer a question, knowing that you're going to clip this for shorts, that's a great way to be intentional so that you know you're going to get high quality answers with reels in mind so that you can clip this podcast later. Here's what I mean. It needs to be solutions to problems your podcast solves for the viewer. You can re-ask a question that you thought was interesting in the podcast, but the person only has 30 seconds to give the answer. Another idea is something like, if you could start your journey all over, if you could start whatever all over again, what would you do differently? The more intentional you can be with these rapid fire questions, and the more experience you get to know what's going viral, these are really low effort, high reward ways to get more views out of your podcast. See, the more intentional you are with a thumbnail title beforehand, the more chances it has for success. The more intentional you are with the hook of your podcast, long form, the higher chance of success it will be. The more effort and high quality reels you get out of each podcast, the more chances for views you will get, and more views equal more subscribers. Here's a few lies that people believe about podcasting that holds them back from either creating it or getting views. The first is that strong guest will change everything. Now, there is validity that either trending on the back of a viral idea or a viral topic or a viral person, yes, you might get more views. But if you don't structure the video properly, if you don't have a good title and thumbnail, even having a popular guest won't solve your problems. Here's a great example. The NBA 3 weeks ago, the full Mr. Beast $100,000 challenge. Okay, that title's not so bad. But if we look at a video Mr. Beast has put out, a similar time frame, this is Mr. Beast Gaming, 50 YouTubers fight for $100,000, 19 million views, 2 months ago. 100 identical twins fight for $250,000, 142 million views. But the NBA, the full Mr. Beast $100,000 challenge, 480,000 views. Why? We have Mr. Beast. His face isn't even the main focus. Like, this thumbnail is messy. There's so much happening in this thumbnail. That's not a good thumbnail. If it was something very simple like the one below it, this could have 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 5 million views by now. Just because you have someone like Mr. Beast who routinely gets millions and millions of views does not mean that you're going to automatically get the same level of success if you don't title and structure it the right way. You still need to learn how to play the game of YouTube. A guest isn't going to save you. Starting a podcast and making it successful isn't as easy as it looks. If you haven't reversed engineered your goal, you think, I'm going to put out 4 videos and they're each going to get 100,000 views, and therefore I'm going to get 10,000 subscribers in my first month. Maybe you have unrealistic expectations. But if you actually think about it, I'm going to get 1 subscriber for every 100 views, so therefore I need 100,000 views, and oh man, I might have to put out 20 videos before I get 100,000 views. And 20 videos might take me 6 months to make. That means I might only get 1,000 subscribers in 6 months' time. I have realistic expectations now, and so now I won't quit. I know the road that I need to go down, and I'm willing to walk down that path. But maybe, like the fitness analogy, you're going to the gym, you think you're eating enough, but you're not actually doing what it takes to become successful. Maybe you go to the gym once a week, but you have pizza every single night, not realizing that one pizza is your whole day's worth of calories done in one meal. So no wonder you're not getting results. You're not working out enough and you're eating too much. You might have terrible thumbnails, terrible ideas, terrible titles. These can all be reasons that you're failing and you're not even realizing that. And just from a lack of strategy, a lack of knowledge, a lack of insight, your podcast is failing. And so learning from someone who is successful or improving one thing each upload, this is how you have a more realistic chance of success when it comes to podcasting. If you want me to give feedback on your channel, like I did in this video, or maybe you want feedback on a specific video, or you have a struggle with a particular business problem that you're having, if you fill out the form in the link below and you submit your channel video or problems you need solving, I would be happy to give you advice and feedback like I did in this video. If you want to know 10 different ways you can make money with content, then this is the next video for you to watch.